In this video, we are going to be speaking about the topic of confidence and mediumship. So if you're somebody who is struggling with confidence, this video is not only going to show you why you are struggling with confidence, but I'm going to give you some of the building blocks to overcome some of the hurdles in your way. If you're new to the platform, my name is Psychic Medium Jordan Coburn, and I can prove with evidence of the afterlife. I've helped thousands of people on this earth plane to be able to once again reconnect to their loved ones in spirit, and now it's your turn. Each and every one of you possess the humanistic capabilities and skill sets to become great mediums. And here at Help Heal Serve, we can give you all of the love and care and nurturing that you need, not to mention the Help Heal Serve family. Without further ado, let's get into what you've come to see. Confidence is the silent killer, because let's be completely honest, right? Each and every one of you, stop a second now. Forget about mediumship, even though this is a mediumship video. Forget about mediumship. Think about your everyday life. You will look at other people and you will look up to those individuals. You will see them strong, courageous, very outgoing. However, the problem is you should never judge a book by its cover. The point that I'm trying to make is when it comes to confidence, everybody on this planet has confidence issues in some way, shape or form. So stop beating yourself up over this. In the materialistic world, not mediumship, but in the materialistic world, each and every one of you have confidence issues in certain aspects of your being. Whether you want to admit it or not, that's a completely different story for a completely different day. But the problem I'm trying to introduce to each and every one of you who are struggling with your confidence and mediumship, what you don't realize is you take over the person that you are into mediumship. For example, if you are somebody who is very shy, you're not very an outgoing person, you lack the confidence to be able to communicate with someone. When you go into mediumship, do you think that that's just going to magically disappear? Because newsflash, my friend, it isn't going anywhere until you've dressed it on a personal level. Each and every one of you stop now and have a little bit of a think about some of the flaws that you have in fact, Spirit are telling us, get a bit of paper and write this down. It's going to be so much easier for you to write this down. And when it comes to confidence, we need to understand ourselves in and out. And this is where it's going to get very difficult for a lot of you, because a lot of you are just thinking of mediumship as being the problem here. Mediumship doesn't work for me. It doesn't matter how hard I try or when I'm connecting, it just doesn't work that way. You are the problem here, and we need to acknowledge what is going wrong with you. Is the confidence issue down to you yourself not liking to interact with other people? Maybe see somebody like me who just really, I'll just like my own energy, my own space, blah, 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 blah. If that's the case, then when we come into mediumship, you can't be like that. Could you imagine if I come onto this camera now and I was doing an educational video on mediumship and I was like, well, I don't like anyone. I'm not talking to anyone. I don't. You see, we have to dial things in. We have to understand that we come first, not mediumship. When we have refined ourselves as a vessel and when we acknowledge some of the traits that we have as an individual in terms of the confidence, then guess what? The confidence issues, 90% of your confidence issues in mediumship are going to go away. It's the problem that I see on a daily basis, is people say, oh, I've got this problem in mediumship. And the problem is when I go into the reading, the spirit world aren't there, right? There's nothing wrong in that moment. You have become a human being in those moments. Rather than being a conduit to the message, you become a human being. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't beat yourself up over it. And to each and every one of you, I'm not in any way, shape or form giving any of you a get-out clause in mediumship. You've got to understand you as a person. You're going to make mistakes. Let's not just think about mediumship here. In your everyday life, you are going to make mistakes. You have to learn from those mistakes. Don't beat yourself up is the point that I'm trying to make with this when it comes to the medium, because there's so many people who beat themselves up over the confidence in mediumship. And the problem, what you don't realize is you as a person are already confident. And I know that's crazy, a bold statement, because we're doing a video about people not being confident. The point that I'm trying to raise to each and every one of you, You are putting these self-blocks in place. You are the one who's telling yourself you're not confident. You are the one who is holding your ball back. You are the one who is saying that you're not good enough. You're the one who's saying that you don't want to talk to people. You're the one who's saying that you're shy. This is all to do with your mind. We can reprogram you to be a better vessel in terms of a conduit to the spirit world. We can do all of that. Listen, that is literally easy peasy lemon squeezy for people like myself. That isn't an issue. The biggest issue that we have before you come into mediumship is acknowledging your own flaws as a human being. Coming back to the very original analogy there. If you are somebody who lacks the ability to communicate in this life, when you start working with the spirit world, that's going to transition over. It's going to be very difficult for you to ask the spirit world for information because you don't like dealing with human beings. On the plus side, you may be somebody who is very outspoken. Being outspoken sometimes is going to cause you confidence issues because you're going to realize that people don't want or don't like the way that you are talking to them. So you're going to have to dull things down and change. This is all about you as a person. Acknowledging in the first instance, get your little bit of paper. Again, I know I didn't tell you to do this at the beginning, but get your little bit of paper, get it in front of you now, go and get your little bit of a pen. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk through going through this together. So what we're going to do is on the left-hand side, in fact, let's have a little bit of fun with this, everyone, right? I'm going to do one as well. And as we are talking about this, I'm going to show you some of the points I don't like about myself. So what we want to get a bit of A4 paper, and we're going to write good and bad. Now, this isn't in a spiritual sense, and please, keep it basic and simple. I'm going to present it to the camera and show you how simple that was. How quick was that? And fair enough, if you're somebody who's driving or you're listening to this on a podcast, then I wouldn't expect you to do this. But if you're in a safe space where you can actually do this, this is what you need to do. Stop focusing on about mediumship just for a second. By the end of this video, I'm going to be showing you what to do next. But we need, in the first instance, to learn about yourself. We need you not just to acknowledge the flaws that you have, but we need to highlight them to you. How can you action them if you are failing to accept that these are issues? So let's go through together, because some of these things, you might think, well, I didn't realize that was a confidence issue, but of course it is. So let's go straight on it. So I'm going to be truthfully honest in this video of some of the concerns. I mean, this doesn't really apply to me now, but I'm going to come into this from being a new person into mediumship. So some of the bad points is me as a person, okay? We are going to go, I'm very cut or dry. I don't mess around. I don't beat around the bush. I understand some people don't like that. And to me, on a personal level, I thought that was going to introduce a little bit of a problem into my teaching styles, because I don't tolerate nonsense. Well, you'll see other people going, oh, ride the fluffy unicorns, and oh, this is great, and oh, it's lovely, Sandra, it's lovely, Sandra. Did you see that big flashing rainbow? Shut up, that's not mediumship. That is literally not what it was meant to be, ever. And to anyone who gets offended by that, understand I'm just a very opinionated little person, and I have my opinions because I don't have dilutions of mankind. I don't read mankind's literature. I don't read mankind's notions. I work direct with the spirit world. So this is why I voice my opinions, and I voice the teachings from the spirit world. Again, I don't mean anyone offense by this. So I'm going to say it cut and dry. I do write like I'm a child, by the way, so please don't judge us on this. And anyway, while we're at this, remember to smash the like button. Thank you to everyone who puts help, heal, serve into the comment section on these videos. I do notice and appreciate it, and I do, thank each and every one of you for it, because as you have probably noticed, the channel's grown. Each and every one of you are helping my message of help, heal, serve to grow. I'm very cut and dry. What's another thing about myself that I didn't like coming into it? So let's be honest about that. I didn't like the way I spoke. So, spoke. I'm going to come through all of these with you. We're going to go through them, and then hopefully what I'm thinking is if there's any of you who've got some of these points, you might see why I've put them. So when I say spoke, well, we'll come through it at the end, because it's going to get a bit confusing if I'm going over and over and over. What else did I think that was bad about myself? So me as a person, I'm very, how can I say it? I'm very, I'm trying to think of a word that's, because it's not that I'm not compassionate or I don't empathize with people, but I'm very reserved in the way in which I will deal with situations. I'm very aware and keen, and I know where my place is and where other people's place is, so to speak. So I'm just going to say empathy. Even though I'm an empathic person, it's the easiest way for me to be able to articulate in a way that you're going to have some sort of resonance too. Another bad thing, I didn't like the way that I looked. So looks, let's put looks on there. So straight away, we've already got four things at the very beginning of my development that were going to stop me in development. Some of the good points that I had about myself, I like to help people. So I like to help people. And I know a lot of you are probably thinking, this is such a basic idea, Jordan. And is this all we've had to do all along? Think about it. Mediumship in self-development is meant to be simple, but mankind as a species, and we have what are called egos. We like to make things more complicated than what they actually are. So yes, it is meant to be this simple, and I hope you are following along, mind. I hope you're following along. It'll be interesting for each and every one of you as well. Remember, this channel is about raising awareness for the spirit world and the realms, but also to help each and every one of you along your divine spiritual path. By building your confidence, I want to see some of the good and bad points that you have currently now in the comments section below. There's no excuses. By doing that, not only are you gaining confidence because you are openly and actively speaking about it, but you will see the support from every other person on this channel that is there to help you with some of the things that you've got. Remember, this is a family. Anyone who comes onto my platforms or any one of my platforms who is negative or has bad intentions to any one of the students, they are gone quicker than you can say boo to a ghost. So I want to see some of the good points and bad points about you as people. Remember, the reason why I say this as well, is going to be a lot of you going, oh, please don't make us. I'm not forcing you to do it, but by me seeing some of the things that you are lacking in, some of the things that you are struggling with, I can then make content around it to help you. So it helps me to be able to help you. It makes sense, doesn't it? It sounded like a bit like a rhyme there. So I always like to help people. I'm also, whilst I didn't like the way that I spoke, I've always been able to help anyone. I've always been able to articulate in such a way where people just understood what I meant. When it comes to speaking, I'm very good at getting a message across. And I've always been like that, even from being young. I've always been like this. I've literally, through the entirety, what you'll all find is through the entirety of your life, you'll have places, challenges, and situations that will be put in front of you to sculpt you into the person that you are. Throughout my entire life, I've done many of different vocal jobs, training, education. Maybe it's not in the mediumship aspect, but all of it ties into mediumship is the point I'm trying to make. Remember, we are bringing you as a person into mediumship. We're not just giving you this special cloak that now gives you powers to be a medium. We need you to embrace the person, the strong, courageous individual that you are, and bring that into mediumship. Because anything else we're not interested in, because that isn't going to work in mediumship. We need you to fully appreciate and understand the beautiful, caring and loving soul that you are. Anyone who's wanting to become a medium, whether you think you're nice or not, you are a beautiful soul. You are doing this on your own back. You are putting the time, the effort, the energy in to want to help mankind. Maybe it's you just want to do it to help yourself. That's not wrong. However, what I would say to any one of you who just want to do it to help yourself, there is a bigger picture. There is a bigger picture than just yourself. And you will find when you start working on it with the spirit world and they start showing you things, you will want more of that cake. I'm like a little greedy kid in a sweetie shop when it comes to it. Like literally, I want all of it. I'm just like, the spirit world, give me loads of sweeties. And that's what you all have to realize. What you feel now towards mediumship is not going to be what you feel in months and months to come to time. You will change as a person. You will grow spiritually. Your wants, needs, and desires will change for the greater good. So I like to help. I've always been a good speaker. So I'm going to, even though I didn't like my voice, when I say I didn't like my voice, it's not that I didn't like the way I'm a Geordie. Listen, the majority of you, I remember when I first come onto camera, right? That's another thing that I didn't like, camera. So we've got looks, got camera there. So look at all the things that I've already had to start battling against. And before anyone says it's shadow work, shut the hell up. It's not shadow work. It's working on oneself. That simple. Keep all of the spiritual terminology out of this channel. We don't need it. All of that is introduced to try and make this seem more mystical than what it actually is. You are working on oneself. Good speaker. What else did I like about myself? Me heart's always in the right place. Whether people believe it or not, or people want to accept that, my heart's always in the right place. And I'm always putting other people before myself. So we're going to say heart in the right place. Without boring you, I hope that you can see where we are going with this. I want at least each and every one of you to have 5 good points and 5 bad points. Now let's come over to my good points. We'll go to the bad points first, and I'm going to talk about how I got over some of these points and how you can also get over them. Bad points. Cut and dry. How did I change that? I didn't. I accepted that's how I am, and I accepted that that is the way that I am going to do this. Again, remember back to the beginning. Whilst a lot of you will want an answer or a solution, sometimes we have to adapt. We have to take some of the traits that we have as an individual to bring into mediumship. And I would like to think the majority of you on this channel have either found the channel, you've been guided to the channel, and you'll see my cut and dry approach, and it'll be a breath of fresh air. And that's not me being egotistical. It's just that is what this world needs at this moment in time. None of this lovey-dovey, fluffy stuff that's making, putting mediumship out of reach of every other person. Because let's be completely honest, mankind's notions and theories are there to withhold you from mediumship, to make you feel that small when there's other people who do mediumship who are that tall. We are smashing down them barriers of divide. We are making this universal to the everyday person. By doing that, we are obliterating all of the spiritual lingo. We don't need any of it. We are keeping it basic to this point, simple. And as you can see there, from that, I've embraced that as me as a person, because whilst it's a bad point and I was looking at it, and the point I'm trying to make here is whilst I was looking at being cut and dry as a bad point, I've brought that into mediumship, and it's become a good point. There's going to be a lot of things that you think are bad points about yourself, and you're going to find out very, very quick that actually we can mold that and we can use it in your favour. That's why it'll be interesting to see what some of the people say. What some of you have got to say, because there'll be a lot of people in the comments saying, well, actually, no, that's not a bad point. That's a good point. You should be using that. You should be exercising that and flexing it as your humanistic ability and some of the traits that you have. Next one, spoke. So I'm good at articulating, but the problem is when I come in front of a camera, and my family say it to us all the time, and loads of people will say it to us, but the problem is subconsciously I've created, not an avatar, but when I come in front of the camera, my natural speech changes. And why does it do that? I fought against it. I was like, I shouldn't, I need to speak correctly. I need to change the person I am. But what I found was because I have created this character for so long, not character in a way where I've created some sort of different person, but I could not. If I was to come on and talk the way that I normally talk, there'll be a lot of you now just looking at the camera going, what on earth is he saying? You see can you see why I'm saying? I've got to slow it down. So for me to slow it down, kind of a confidence thing within myself, for me to be able to slow down, I had to create an avatar for myself, especially when I come in front of a camera or I'm doing any sort of educational teachings. Because if I come on and talk the normal way that I would, then each and every one of you would not have a clue about what I was discussing. And that's, for me, when I'm channeling energy, I can't just change the way I'm speaking. Because to any one of you who don't channel energy, you'll find very quick when you start channeling energy, it becomes very hyper. It's like, you're like, oh, yeah. So if you're a fast speaker, when you channel energy, you're going to become an even faster speaker. Unless you do something about it. By doing something about it, it is self-development. We realize that when we channel energy, we now need to slow everything down. By slowing and articulating in a slower manner, each and every one of you will understand each and every morsel of what I am speaking. If I was to talk at my normal speed, then there'll be a lot of you that are just wondering, what on earth is he going on about, that Geordie from Newcastle? I think he should. You get what I'm saying? And that wasn't even me talking fast. That was just me talking in a normal pace. So I know there's a lot of you laughing at that, but that is why I, as a person, acknowledged that I had to do something with my speech. Empath. Again, I've come to understand that sometimes I've still got barriers. What you've all got to understand is when I come on to camera, when I come on to do any of my readings or any of my teachings, I'm here giving you my time. I'm giving you my understandings from the spirit world. Whether you like them or not, you're watching at this point of the video, so remember to smash that like button. You're watching them. And one of the things that I've come to understand is when I come into mediumship, I was very detached from other people. And I'll still say it to this day, your problems are my problems. But when I say that, technically, that's kind of an old version of me who's got that in the back of my mind. It's kind of a safety measure because I don't want other people's problems to impede on my world. I don't want to get hurt by other people's feelings and all of this different stuff. So there's a genuine reason why in the back of my mind I've got those defenses up. But also I think if you are wanting to become a medium, this is something that you need to embrace. You've got to have boundaries. You can't let people walk all over you. And before anyone says, my God, that's such not a spiritual person, I'm not a spiritual person. I'm a realist. I live in the materialist world and I'll tell it how it is. You have to remember that whilst we can be there for everyone, not everyone's going to be there for you. And this is going to be more damaging to you and detrimental to you. You need to listen to the words to which I've just spoke there. And you will see the reason to why you need to action this at the beginning of your development. This is about your solo journey. Whilst we can help people as we are going along, and I'm not talking about giving readings, I'm talking about in my own spare time. When I'm doing readings, that's just dedicated to spirit. That's exactly what it is. You know, I don't not keep energy from someone. I don't not tell somebody I don't not tell somebody information. That's part of my role as a medium. I mean, in my everyday life, me as a person in my everyday life, I like to just go on and plod on through me own. And again, that's not a bad thing. I've made that work for me. For example, when somebody steps outside of their box and they start to try to get, I've had quite a few things on here where I've had people who've been messaging us in my own time and, unsolicited messages, unsolicited phone calls, unsolicited this. Listen, I'm here to help each and every person. That's why we have a comments box section. But you've got to remember, when I dedicate time to coming onto the channel or dedicate time to doing readings to help people, then the rest of my time is my own time. Like, literally, I've got to have a life, just like each and every one of you have got to have a life. So please, if you are somebody who, at this moment in time of this video, thinks, well, actually, I'll just let people walk all over me. And let's be honest, you probably wouldn't admit that, would you? But if you've wrote that down there, that you are too soft on people, then this is something that you need to understand. You can still be a lovely person. You can still be a caring person. I'm not saying that you need to start being an absolute arrogant... I nearly swore there. But what I am saying is you've got to stand up for what is you. You've got to stand up for the person that you are. People will always treat you the way that you let them treat you. It's very simple. It's very, very true. So for empath, I accepted that I was going to use that as kind of a good point. I've brought it into mediumship. Looks with get the world's smallest violin out. In terms of the looks, I know this isn't some sort of fashion statement, but the problem is when you've got some sort of confidence issues within yourself and you're going to go in front of people and you're going to be talking to them directly, in the back of your mind, it's like, not in a vain way, but it's one of those things where I've always been quite uncomfortable with the way I looked. And again, you don't need the world's smallest violin, but a lot of you are probably going to have this as well. And this is something that you need to acknowledge, because if you are coming into mediumship and you are standing in front of groups of people doing readings, or you are on a daily basis doing readings for people, you need to snap out of that and forget about how you look. Focus on the message. The message is all that you are there for. And to be honest with you, when it comes to looks, a lot of that come down to camera. Because I don't know if a lot of you know, but when you come in front of a camera, there's lots of different viewing angles you're getting. There's lots of different... I mean, I've got to wear glasses now. So, I mean, you know, so that's even another big thing for me. Because you don't see us wearing glasses any other time. But when I come in front of a camera and I've got lights, I've got side lights, I've got loads of light going on. If I don't wear glasses, then I come off here and my eyeballs are absolutely fried. So that introduces a new thing. But when you realise that, actually, hang on, why am I doing this? Am I doing this because I want to look good in front of other people? Or am I doing this because I've got a sole purpose and intent to help other people to connect to their loved one? If the answer was A, then the problem is you probably need to look at the reasons why you're doing this, because it isn't to look good. Yes, you can look good, but that shouldn't be what you're wanting to achieve from mediumship. Your end goal in mediumship should be getting you to where you want to be along your divine spiritual path, and to be able to connect to the medium, well, to connect to the spirit world whenever you like, to connect to mediumship. Well, technically you are connecting to mediumship, but that's the process that you're using. So we've mentioned the bad things there. Each and every one of you, be honest with yourself. Be honest, truthfully honest, even if it's going to absolutely rip your little world into pieces. I need you to be honest with yourself. I'm not one of these people who's going to tell you it's, oh, there you go, Barbara, or there you go, John, it's all right. We'll just manage to find a way around this. No, we're not finding a way around it. We are dealing with the problem head on. If you don't like the way you look, suck it up. We need to get you into a place where you are going to be confident to speak to people, coming away from that way of thinking. Don't care about what people, the way that people are looking at you. Don't care about what you think you look like on camera. Now I couldn't care less. But I mean, again, it's different with me, because I mean, I had lessons from spirit. So I would be in my dreams. I would also be on platforms and podiums in front of thousands of people, having to reiterate my teachings, my education to the world and all of that. So it's not like I haven't had assistance with it. But in the first instance, I had to take that conscious step that, right, it's not about me no more. I'm stepping away from this. I'm dealing with this in the best way I can. This is a negative thing for me, and I'm going to create that into a positive. I'm not going to let that smash down my confidence no more. I'm just going to get on and do what I do. So those are the bad points. I'm looking forward to seeing some of your points, some of your bad points. Some of the good points that I had coming into mediumship is I like to help people. I like to genuinely, I can't think of anything better than helping people all day long. Like literally, naturally, that is just who I am. It's the way that my brain's programmed. It's the way that I've always been from being a very, very young child. Also, I'm a very good speaker. A lot of you've probably realised that Jordan could talk for England. It's a very good fact. I could talk for England, because when I'm in front of you on camera, I'm channeling energy from the spirit world. So that's why, again, each and every one of you can do this. Each and every one of you, when you start channeling energy, if you want to channel energy, remember, channeling is very different to mediumship. Mediumship in an act is where you are going to be getting information from the spirit world. Channeling is where energy is coming through me. Fun fact, that's why I'm going to take a drink now. But if you ever see me making some sort of weird face, looking like I'm going to burp, it's not. I've got nothing medically wrong with it. If you see us off camera when I'm not channeling energy, I don't do it. It's literally just when I'm channeling energy. I'm just going to get a drink of water. And this is about me helping you. So if you've got to use a bigger bit of paper than this A4 sheet, then you bloody do it, my friend. Smash it. Turn every negative you have into a positive. We want there to be no bad things and everything good. We need that to be the case. Otherwise, you're always going to stumble across things. And don't think for 1 minute that this is going to be easy. Listen, if you've come to my channel, I'm telling you now 100%, nothing in mediumship is easy. And when we are talking about self-development in the first instance, like literally, this is the hardest part of mediumship. Mediumship is simple. Like seriously, mediumship, the art of mediumship, the connection in mediumship is simple. Getting you to where you need to be on a personal level is the hard part. This is where you now need to start thinking, do you want to be a medium? If you do, then suck it up. We need to start dealing with these problems head on. Next thing, heart. I've always been, I kind of mentioned that at the beginning. Look at this, making loads of good points. I like people. Oh, help people. So I think, I've gotten me point across there, and thanks for that, Spirit, because that was a really good way, a little bit of an educational way of showing each and every one of you how you can start to work on some of the problems that you have as an individual. You've got to remember the day in which we are living, society have been conditioned through herd thinking that mediumship can be done and performed and executed without clarity. It's socially accepted now for individuals to give subpar readings and messages. And listen, this is where a lot of you are going to have confidence issues. And I know there's a lot of you thinking, well, how's that going to be an issue to me? That's better to me. If people are allowed to do that, then that makes it easier for me. I can just be, no, you don't follow the crowd. You do not follow the crowd. We are here to stop that dead in its tracks. We are bringing mediumship back to what it should have always been. We are taking the notions and theories away from man, and we are giving it back to mankind, repackaged, repurposed, ready, help, heal, serve. There you go, connect to the spirit world. A lot of you are going to come across individuals who are going to tell you you're wrong. A lot of you are going to come across people who are bullies. Listen, you get bullies in every walk of life. That's not just mediumship. You get it in workplaces. You get it in, well, anywhere. Like, seriously, it's pointless as naming loads of places. You're going to get it anywhere. And you've got to remember that the reason why they are going to have animosity towards you is when you start following these practices aren't from mankind's notions. These are direct from the spirit world. These get 100% success rates, get results each and every time. There are people who are educated who get information instantly. And this is what each and every one of you need to be aware of. When people are becoming envious of you, when people are becoming jealous and the greed eye monster comes out because they can see what you're doing and what they can't do because of the conditioning they have had, you are breaking free of that mold. You, my friend, are going to be a lot more confident than most of the people that you know. Confidence can be a big thing, and it really can destroy somebody's mediumship. If you aren't confident within yourself before coming into mediumship, then we have issues. We've spoken there a little bit about some of the causes of confidence issues, and we've also spoken about some of the simple hacks that each and every one of you can do at any given time. Sorry, everyone, I've just had a fly or something out of my eye. Each and every time you can use these processes to aid you and guide you and to get you where you need to be. But now let's come into the mediumship aspect of it. Let's come away from the personal development and let's come into the mediumship. Confidence issues in mediumship are always going to be there. It doesn't matter how good you are as a person until you get the connection right. A lot of you are thinking, well, I'm already connected, John, but I'm having confidence issues. You're having confidence issues because you don't put your full trust in the spirit world. You don't put your full trust in the spirit world because you aren't connected correctly. It's essentially like putting spirit are showing us, it's like dipping your foot in a pool. You know, when you go to the side of a pool and you're kind of gauging whether it's hot or cold, and you'll just put your foot in and you'll dip. That's what you're doing at the moment. Those of you who are having confidence issues in mediumship, you are dipping your little toe into the pool of spirit, and you're just like, oh, should I fully commit? Should I jump into that pool or not? To the rest of you who have jumped into that pool, the confidence issues aren't going to be from mediumship. They're going to stem from your personal development. And this is the point that each and every one of you, I hope you realize from this video. You are all human beings. You are all going to have confidence issues at some time. But it's like everything in mediumship, it's how we deal with it. It's how we overcome the hurdles that are put in front of us. If you are a practicing medium and you are having confidence issues in your development, you need to stop in your tracks and work out why you're having these confidence issues using the method that we just introduced at the beginning. And before anyone says, well, actually, I'm just perfect, I don't have any confidence issues, I guarantee each and every one of you now, the issues that you are having with confidence are stemming from personal development. You've come into mediumship too quick, because mediumship is an act. It's perfect. It's the most perfect thing here on planet Earth. It's the closest thing to perfect. When it's done correctly, it is simple. We need to understand that us as a vessel, we are the ones who get it wrong. By getting it wrong, we have to follow different theories in practices in which we can ascertain where we have went wrong in the first place. For example, you are doing a reading and you're given the information. Again, I'm not speaking for myself here because I can't, this isn't the way I work, but let's just say in a hypothetical scenario, you're given a reading and all of a sudden a thought pops into your head and you lose your confidence. You're like, oh, you're freezing up. You're like, oh, I've got somebody in front of us and I need to deliver a message. Oh, well, the human mind is kicking in. You are going into fight or flight. You have created a situation. You are aware of the situation that you are now in. You are under pressure. And the second that your faith has gone in the spirit world, your connection has gone, you've dropped your link, straight away you're going into panic mode. Had you have had full trust in the spirit world from the very beginning of that reading, then this wouldn't have ever been an issue. Because the spirit world will use you as a conduit. They will just simply speak through you. I mean, they're doing that now. Again, how simple is it when I come in front of a camera? You'll hear me often referencing we or us. That's because I operate... When you see me in front of the camera, it's like 10% Jordan, 90% spirit. It's literally, they do all of the work. They just come into my vessel and they'll just speak. They'll tell you what you need to know. A lot of the time, when we are talking about confidence issues and mediumship, a lot of you are going to have probably experienced this at some point. Do not, I repeat, please do not go looking for the answers externally to why you are having confidence issues. You should always consult your own spirit teams. You should drop into a meditation. Ask the spirit world what's wrong. What do you need to learn? What is it that you need to do? A lot of you are going to fall victim to the next part, where you are going to go into a location with individuals who practice mediumship or self-acclaimed mediums, and you are going to start picking up on their poor practices, their poor teachings. The reason being is because you think that is going to be the right way to build your confidence. I'm sorry, you couldn't be more wrong. Like, seriously, to any of you who go to these locations, I know I'm pretty harsh on them, right? And I don't want you to think I'm having a direct attack at them. I'm not. I understand that sometimes these places can be a place of bonding, also a place of feeling accepted. But you're missing the point. You don't need to feel accepted. You are loved and blessed by the spirit world. Your loved ones in spirit are with you with each and every second of every day. You don't need mankind to bless you or to accept you for who you are. You are already accepted. You are more unique to us than any other person that you could imagine on this planet. So remember, when you are coming into mediumship, and you are having confidence issues, don't go looking for the first external source you can find. Stop buying courses to overcome your fears of... Listen, you start doing yourself more of an injustice and a disservice by paying people to cleanse you of these confidence issues and past life traumas. Listen, I'll tell you a few things that I've heard now, right? I've heard of people saying that they've got issues because of past life traumas. Absolutely BS, and I can prove it 100%. Each and every one of you, if you know me on my channel, I don't say anything unless the spirit will back me up on it. And believe me when I say you come to this life as a pure soul. You do not bring any of your past life traumas, ailments, confidence issues to this planet. It's a bloody fresh start. Like, literally, it's that simple. Whilst, yes, you can get information from the Akashic Records, that's a little bit more of a different, and that's a video for a very different day. I'm talking about people who use confidence issues in mediumship, and they are claiming it's from a past life trauma. Obviously, some of you're going to have people who will tell you that you have issues with confidence because from a child you've had trauma. Now, listen, yes, you are going to have trauma as a child. Most children do have trauma, yes, on different magnitudes to one another. But the problem is by you accepting that that's why you are the way that you are at this moment in time, you are actually putting the nail in the coffin when it comes to your confidence, because you're saying, well, yes, I did go through this. But then instead of dealing with it, we are just acknowledging that that's the problem and it's never going to change. Listen, it's the same as grief. If you are somebody who's suffering from grief, I know I sound very heartless when I say it, and sometimes I think a lot of people get wound up by the way I say this, but when it comes to grief, you are the problem. Your loved one in spirit does not miss you one bit. And I'll tell you the reason why. Because they are with you with each and every second of every day. They are with you more now in spirit than they were in the materialistic. And I hope each and every one of you can see why I say that in the way I do. I know you probably got a shock there and you thought, my God, what's this But think of it realistically in that way. They are with you. They share each and every milestone you overcome, every challenge that you are faced. So, yeah, you know, grief is a big thing when it comes to mediumship development, and grief is also going to cause confidence issues. Why? Because if you are failing to connect to the spirit world due to not going through the grieving process, then this is going to introduce a new fear, because you're never going to know if you're connecting or not. You're going to go into a reading and you're going to hope and pray that the spirit world are there. And if one day you feel because you're having a bad day or you're having something going wrong in your world, notice how everything I've said, it's all to do with you. All to do with you. There's nothing here that I've said is about spirit or mediumship. It's all to do with you. This video is like dedicated to each and every one of you. Whilst in the title we are talking about confidence and mediumship, it starts at you. You are the one who brings the confidence to mediumship. Everything else will, when you are confident as a person, when you have the abilities to look at everything in the light that I've just given you and take a little bit of a back step, because a lot of you have been educated and a lot of you have been passed down understandings from generation to generation and all of these different things. And a lot of you will believe that it's mediumship that's the problem. You're not getting it because there's a problem with mediumship, or you're not getting it because you're not doing something right. Everyone can do mediumship. There's literally, everyone can do mediumship. The problem is you as a person, there is something that we aren't getting right. And that's what hopefully from this video, each and every one of you are going to start to see this way of thinking. Instead of blaming mediumship, instead of blaming something else, blame you. Blame you for not being in the right state of mind coming into mediumship. And I know there's a lot of you go, oh, that's so mean, why are you blaming me? I don't mean it in a nasty way. But coming back to it, you've come into mediumship too quick. If you are having issues with mediumship development, with confidence, there is a reason why you're having these issues, because we've rushed into mediumship. And why wouldn't you rush into mediumship? I mean, mediumship's amazing. It's magical. It's beautiful. It's everything that you probably imagine and 25 billion times more. So I get why the rush. I get the rush, why you want to be a medium. I get it. Listen, I see the spirit world on a daily basis. I see dead people on a daily basis in spirit. It's amazing. It's fascinating. But it takes time. And time is one of the things that you have to realize that is on you, not spirit, not mediumship is a process. It is on you. If you are impatient and you are trying to skip parts of mediumship before you've actually accepted what mediumship means to you and who you are to yourself, then there's always going to be that disconnect there. There's always going to be a confidence issue. I know a lot of you are expecting to come onto this video and just see us wave a magic wand and say, right, I want you to do this meditation and it's going to make it all right. But it's not the way that's going to make it right. That's what other people will tell you. Because that's the reason why this world is in this sorry state of affairs, where we have people in the year 2024 who still don't know how to connect to their loved ones in spirit. You have the majority of people who believe people like myself are scammers, fraudsters, yada, yada, yada. I get it all the time in my comments. Yeah, you can't argue with logic and evidence. It's like these people, they have their say, and rightly so. Listen, at the end of the day, to any one of these people who want to call me whatever they like, first of all, it doesn't bother me in the slightest. I let my actions speak louder than words. I let my work speak for itself. And each and every one of you should adopt that way of thinking. But the thing is you've got to understand is as mediumship goes, have you seen how many frauds there are in this world? Have you seen how many practicing mediums that are absolutely scamming people and who are fraudsters? So these people have a right mind to conceive every other medium to be frauds. I totally with them. I get them. I get where they come from. That's logic. They're not being nasty. They're having an opinion based on what they see on a daily basis. And until we can change that, and until we can make mediumship beautiful once again, where each and every person on this planet can connect to their loved ones, then you're going to have people who have that sort of opinion. Let's be completely honest about it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you a little bit of a confidence hack. We've talked there about working on yourself. We've also talked there about some of the flaws, some of the issues that you're going to have with confidence. We've also mentioned that confidence and issues with confidence starts at your personal development, not with mediumship. Because when you are connected in mediumship, the confidence is there. You are connected. You know that it's taking place. What I would like each and every one of you to do as part of this video, as part of the homework, if you are wanting to become a medium, this is something you need to do. If there's anything in this video that I've said which has upset you, then watch this video back and you'll see maybe you've listened to it in a certain way, or I've said something that's triggered you and you've picked up on the video completely wrong. The context of this video is very, very simple. It is to help you to understand yourself before we come into mediumship. Once we get you into mediumship, I want you to be ready to take on the world, ready to give the readings with clarity, ready to give that direction and purpose within people's worlds. This is what you should be striving for, the perfection of it. None of this clairvoyance which is thrown around willy-nilly on this earth plane. We don't want that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We don't accept that. We don't tolerate that, because these sorts of people who practice this are the exact same people who are making us look like scammers, making us look like fraudsters. It's these individuals who need highlighted to the rest of mankind. Not named and shamed, I'm not saying it in that respect, but we can do one better than that. We can educate the populace so that people are aware of these schemes taking place and we can show them what to watch out for. You'll see on this channel, I've got loads of videos of what people probably watch and go, wow, that was good reading Jordan just done. And then I'll see at the end, this is what people do on the scam. And they'll be like, oh, actually, I've seen people who do that. And this is what we do. We don't need to bring toxicity to the channels. We don't need to bring verbal arguments with one another. What we simply do is we all work with the energy, because if you are part of the Help Heal Serve family, the energy is 100% working with you anyway. And if you're new to the platform, remember to subscribe and also like this video. But our message is much more than we could have ever imagined. Help Heal Serve will be here long after I'm off this planet. In this new day and age, this new way of thinking when it comes to the spirit world is always been welcomed by spirit. It's always been needed by mankind, more importantly. And now is the right time to introduce this into society. Now it is the time to give the foundations and the building blocks to those who want to connect to their loved ones in spirit. Let's prove to the world how this can be done, not just effectively, but efficiently, where each and every person don't need to pay thousands of pounds for courses and that. And listen, if you're somebody who's wanting to pay for a course, go and check out the video I've just done on certificates. You'll see why you shouldn't be paying for a course. It's literally a couple of videos back. But yeah, each and every one of you, if you believe that every one of the good points and bad points you have as a person, you've nailed it. You've already done that. Jordan, you're stupid. I've already done that. But I'm still having issues with connection. Now we need to look at your connection with the spirit world. The connection with the spirit world is very, very, very simple. Very simple. It's probably one of the simplest things you could ever do on this planet, is go into a meditation. When we are in a meditation, we are going to set our intent. Our intent must be that we want to connect to the spirit world and feel their energy. The second you do this, welcome and embrace any feelings. Get accustomed to that feeling as the energy is flowing through you. If you don't feel it in the first instance, don't think that you're just not connected and you're not special enough. Each and every one of you have the humanistic abilities to become mediums. But depending on where you are at along your divine spiritual path, for some people, this may be a lot quicker of a process. For other people, it may be a lot slower of a process. And one thing I would say to each and every one of you is to embrace this journey. I know it gets frustrating. I know, listen, I get it. I totally get it. Here's me sitting talking about how I work with demons and spirits and I love it. It's all great. And then yous come on and yous are watching and you're like, oh, well, why can't we do what you do? Yous can bloody do what I do. But you've got to understand, off camera, the amount of hours that I put into this. Like, seriously, I mean, when I went first through my development, I mean, I've been doing this for what, maybe 8 years. But when I say 8 years, what you've got to understand is that wasn't all just doing what I'm doing now. I would say from the age of 6-year-old, I've worked with spirit. I mean, for those of you who don't know, who are maybe new watching this channel, from the age of 6-year-old, I've always seen the spirit world. I've seen the spirit world from the age of 6, the age of 8, and then for the entirety of my adult life, to the point it's got now where I'm numb to seeing spirits. I could literally see a spirit stood in my room now looking at me, and I would just be like, all right, mate, like, seriously, what's your story? What do you want us to do? And that's what a lot of you have to realize. For each and every one of you, we all have very different stories, but we can all operate within the same extrasensory perceptions. Extrasensory perceptions that I have, you have. Mark my words when I say that. Each and every one of you have these exact same extrasensory perceptions. What ideologies and understandings might be slightly different. We might have different ways of thinking, but you are on this platform, so I would like to think you're going to learn these understandings, and then you are going to start connecting. When you can prove with evidence that you connect to the spirit world, then you can adopt them to suit yourself. You'll then start going teaching. I would love it if you could say, let people know the message of help, heal, serve. But again, it's one of those things. 50% of you will get your teachings, you'll learn how to connect to the spirit world, and then you'll be off on your merry way. We'll not see each other again. It's literally, that is just the way that the world works. But remember, when it comes to confidence, you can go into a meditation, but only do that once you have been and worked on all of the issues that you have as a person. A lot of people aren't going to tell you this, by the way. A lot of people will not tell you that. A lot of people will say, well, you need to go and do this ritual, or you need to pay for this chakra alignment, or you need to pay for this cleanse, or it's because you've got this negative spirit that's following you around. Come on, pull the other one. It's like, some people will go to the absolute extremes with some of these ludicrous notions, and that's why it was time for change. That's why it's time for every one of you to understand and embrace your extrasensory perceptions and your connection to the spirit world. This video has been, I know it's going to be quite difficult for a lot of you to start going through the list, but I would really appreciate it, and thank you to everyone who puts help, heal, serves in the comments of the videos. But I would appreciate it if you could share some of your stories in the comment section in terms of some of the good points that you had about yourself, some of the bad points. And I would like to think that the community that we've built here, the loving family at Help Heal Serve, will be able to show you that it doesn't have to just be me coming on. For example, if I get 20 people who are all saying the same thing, then I can make a video and explain why you are all experiencing that same thing. So it's good in a way because it helps the community, but it also shows me because confidence, it's one of those things where once I've done this video now, I'll probably not mention confidence for quite some time, because to me, it's not really something I can keep making videos on. Confidence starts with you. We need to keep it basic. We need to keep it simple. Once you've understood and accepted that you as a human being have flaws, and how in the process to work on them flaws, we can then mirror image that into mediumship, and it'll all be addressed. And I can guarantee there'll be a lot of you who've watched in this and you've probably thought, actually, do you know what it is? He's got a very valid point. This is failing because I haven't done this. I haven't addressed this. I haven't addressed this connection. I've been a practicing medium for X amount of years, but the problem is I haven't looked at it in this way. And you shouldn't penalise yourself for that. You shouldn't think of yourself as being any less of a person. At the end of the day, the way that we live in the society to which we live in and exist, there are so many paywalls put up. There are so many different misunderstandings and notions put in our way. It's inevitable at some point you are going to get lost in all of the words, the symbiology, all of these different things that mankind share. So don't beat yourself up. Simply understand in the first instance that the connection phase and the confidence starts at you as a person, not with mediumship. Until we can get everything, and I mean everything, on your piece of paper into the good section, you should not be anticipating or trying to connect to the spirit world. The reason why I say that is there's going to be a lot of you who are quite offended by that, and you might be a little bit upset, but here is out when I say this. Remember, we are trying to make this simple for you to connect. We are trying to get you ready as a soul, as an individual, ready to embark on this adventure, which is mediumship. If you aren't fully ready for that transition, then the problem is you yourself are all going to inadvertently cripple any opportunity or chance you've got, because you are going to sever that connection from the spirit world because of some of the flaws you have as a human being. We need you to be ready, primed, ready to take on the next step. I know there's going to be a lot of you who are thinking, well, actually, we've watched loads of your videos, we've done this, we're ready, Jordan. We are just ready. The fact that you've watched this video tells me that there's something that is not working right. The fact that you've had to watch a video on confidence is telling me immediately that there's something that we are missing. There's a milestone that we've skipped, and each and every one of you are taught. Sorry, everyone, I skinned my throat there. You might have heard. Don't know how I done that. Each and every one of you, if you followed mankind's traditional teachings, or if you've just, winged it on some of our person's channel, you would have all just immediately been dragged into mediumship. And you would have been told by Sue or James, you just need to do this, then you need to do that, and then this. What they fail to acknowledge is that would have worked for them because they were at the right level of their spiritual evolution. You can't just jump into mediumship and wing it. Well, in fact, you can do that, but I wouldn't advise it because people who do that, their work speaks for itself. Their connection, their lack of connection speaks for itself. So what I like each and every one of you to do is to understand the flaws that you have as a human being so that we can't and won't and don't take that into mediumship development. Mediumship development is difficult enough. Never mind bringing your baggage and problems in. And when I say baggage and problems, you need to start looking at it like that. Whilst a lot of you might not think, well, actually, that's not a very nice way. Are you saying because I don't like the way I look, it's baggage? Yes, it bloody is, because you are imposing that on your own world. What you choose to accept is what you welcome into your world. So if you are welcoming these notions that you, for example, if I had when I first come into mediumship, if I had just completely embraced everything, then the problem is I would have had, then there would have been a lot of things about me that I would never ever have addressed. I acknowledged and addressed the issues that I had and made them work for me. That is the difference. There's going to be a lot of things that you haven't yet acknowledged or addressed because no one's told you to do this. And rightly so. Don't beat yourself up over it. Don't think that you are any less of a person because you haven't done this. There are thousands of people on this earth plane who've never once done this. And I'll tell you the reason how I know that for a fact. First of all, because Spirit tell us. Second of all, I've seen 50% of these practicing mediums and how they operate. I can tell you with conviction and certainty, they've never once spent a day looking at themselves before they went into mediumship. Their work screams of it. You can see it oozes from their very pores. These individuals are egotistical driven. They are very narcissistic in the way that they deliver their teachings. These people are the ones who are a prime example of individuals who've jumped into mediumship, connected with the spirit world, and they've never spent any time understanding the person that they are. Remember, why would the spirit world work with them? The spirit world will work with every human being on this planet. Like, literally, there is not one of you are special. And I know a lot of you are going to hate to say that because you might want to think of yourself as being special. But you are just, remember this for your entire development, you are just the conduit. We have to acknowledge that we are just delivering that message. Because if we don't, our mind starts to play tricks on us. We start to believe that we are a god. We are some sort of an extension of the energy itself. We are just a human being living out our life experience. And we have actively chosen to work alongside of a conscious energy. That's all we are. So anyway, I think I'm going to bring that video to an end there. You will see that these videos are a lot longer than what the original videos were. I was trying to make these videos short, and as you can see, you're already an hour. Well, I think it's about an hour. And I've not stopped talking. So hopefully you have all learned something from this. Hopefully that you can see how simple it is to overcome confidence. We've also explained to you why you have confidence issues. We've explained how to address these confidence issues, and we've then, once you've done that, we've also explained how to go into a meditation and to work on your connection. Remember, when you are in the connection phase and you are working with the spirit world in your meditations, document everything. Documentation and writing down what you've experienced after the meditation is going to help you to see your progression. Also, if you get into this habit, the spirit world will become very wise to it. So when you go to sleep, they will send you messages in your sleep. If you're waking up in the morning time and writing things into a journal, a mediumship journal, then it's going to become very apparent to you. You'll see the synchronicities. You'll see how clever the spirit world actually are at getting you information. Anyway, I'm going to love you all and leave you all. I hope you have had a great time here. I have, so thank you. And I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye for now.